Welcome to the deep dive. We got some interesting source material you sent over today. It's all about a business proposal for a product called Smart Guardian.
That's right. Pitched as a new smart device aimed at homes, but also maybe small businesses too.
Yeah, so our job today, as always, is to really dig into this proposal you've provided. We want to cut through the business jargon and figure out what's actually interesting here.
What's the core idea? What problem are they trying to solve? How does the tech work? Why this? Why now? That sort of thing.
Exactly. And the proposal kicks off by hitting on something pretty universal. Appliances breaking down. It's costly. It's a pain.
Uh-huh. And often preventable, they argue.
Right. The source material really hammers this point. We generally lack easy, universal ways to keep tabs on all the different appliances we have before they actually fail.
Yeah, most of us just wait for that final ominous clunk, right? So this proposal puts forward a solution. They're talking about a non-invasive IoT system using AI to give you a kind of early warning.
Okay, non-invasive IoT system, AI. Let's unpack what that actually means based on what they've written here. So this core idea, plug and play, non-intrusive IoT system. That phrase non-intrusive seems key in the proposal. What's that about?
It really is. They emphasize it a lot in the source material. And basically, it means you don't need to crack open your fridge or mess with the wiring inside your air conditioner.
Nothing that voids the warranty.
Exactly. No warranty worries. You just attach these sensors externally. Think of them like little microphones or thermometers you stick on the outside.
Okay, external sensors. But how can sticking something on the outside tell you what's happening deep inside an appliance?
Well, it's pretty clever the way they describe it. The source actually lists the sensor types: vibration, acoustic sound temperature, and even magnetic field sensors.
And these capture what the proposal called them, operational signatures.
Yeah, exactly. Operational signatures. It's like the unique sound profile of your washing machine during a spin cycle, or the specific hum and vibration pattern of your refrigerator's compressor when it's running normally.
So every appliance has its own sort of sonic fingerprint or vibration fingerprint.
Pretty much. And when something starts to wear out, like a bearing maybe, or a motor's struggling, that signature changes. Subtly at first, but it changes.
Got it. So the sensors pick up these signatures, these patterns. Then what? Where does the data go?
It gets sent wirelessly. The proposal mentions standard stuff, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth Low Energy, up to their cloud backend.
Ah, okay. And that's where the AI part comes in.
That's the engine room, basically. In the cloud, they use machine learning models to analyze all that incoming sensor data.
Does the proposal specify what kind of models?
It does, yeah. It mentions things like random forest and support vector machines, which are apparently good for pattern recognition in this kind of data. And also deep learning models, like LSTMs and CNNs, which are better at spotting sort of time-based anomalies or complex faults.
So the AI learns what normal looks like for your specific washing machine or your AC unit.
Exactly. It establishes a baseline, learns that unique signature, and then its job is to spot deviations, signs of trouble brewing.
It's like an AI expert constantly listening to and feeling your appliances.
That's a good way to put it. Catching the small stuff you'd probably miss until, the kitchen floor is flooded, and then all this analysis gets delivered back to you through a mobile app. Standard stuff, Android, iOS.
Okay, the app. What does the proposal say you actually see on the app? What's the user supposed to experience?
So the app is pitched as your command center. It gives you real-time status updates, notifications if something seems off. A key feature they highlight is an appliance health score, like a quick visual check.
A health score. Okay.
But the real kicker, the core value proposition they seem to be pushing, is the predictive maintenance alerts.
Telling you before it actually breaks. That's the dream.
That's the dream. Alerting you to potential problems, signs of wear and tear, before catastrophic failure. The app is also meant to help with routine stuff, scheduled maintenance reminders, keeping a log of repairs.
Okay, so just to summarize this part on what it is. The value prop for you, the user, pulled from the source. It's easy installation because it's non-invasive. Real-time monitoring builds trust. The AI provides the smarts, predicting issues and building their IP. An intuitive app ties it together, plus security and modularity.
And you compare that to what's out there now. Your typical smart fridge only talks to its own brand's ecosystem, right? Other systems might need complex wiring or only focus on, say, HVAC.
Right.
This Smart Guardian, according to the proposal, is designed to be brand agnostic, works with your existing stuff fridge, AC, washer, dryer, whatever. It's automated, AI-driven, and supposed to be quick to install. That retrofit angle across multiple appliance types seems really central to their pitch.
So that's the what's. Now the why now. The source material has a whole section on market timing. Why is this solution being proposed right now?
Yeah, they point to a few big trends coming together. Firstly, just the sheer explosion in smart home adoption. The proposal actually quotes a fee AGR that's a compound annual growth rate of over 20% globally. Just more connected stuff in our homes.
And presumably people are more clued into things like energy consumption and, well, the cost of stuff breaking.
Absolutely. Growing awareness around energy efficiency, definitely. And also the financial hit of major appliance repairs or replacements. Catching something early saves money, extends the lifespan. Simple as that.
The proposal also mentions the rise of remote home management, especially post-COVID.
For sure. People are just much more comfortable now managing aspects of their home through apps on their phones. Plus, you've got government policies in various places pushing for more digital solutions and energy efficiency in buildings.
So if you're already getting comfortable with smart devices, maybe worrying about energy bills, managing things remotely, this kind of product slots right into those existing behaviors and concerns.
It taps directly into those trends, yeah. Addresses a specific gap.
And the potential market size they're talking about in the proposal. Seems pretty significant.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely painting a big picture. The TAM, the total addressable market, basically the theoretical global ceiling for this kind of tech, they estimate at over $10 billion.
Wow. Okay, that's the total potential. What about the market they think they can realistically reach?
That's the SAM, the serviceable available market. They put that at around $3.5 billion globally. Still a very large number.
And where are they aiming first, did the proposal say?
India. They highlight India specifically as the initial target market. Apparently, it's the fastest growing smart home market worldwide right now.
Interesting. So India first.
Yeah, the SAM there alone is estimated at $1.5 billion. The proposal sees it as a great place to test, refine, and scale up. They're targeting a $360 million slice of that Indian market over the first 3 years.
And then potentially looking elsewhere.
Absolutely. The proposal mentions expanding later into premium markets, specifically the U.S. with an estimated $3 billion SAM in Europe, around $2.2 billion SAM.
And what are the underlying drivers making this market potentially so large, besides general smart home growth?
Well, the proposal points to the overall predictive maintenance market itself, which is already huge, like $15 billion plus globally and growing fast. Then there are energy efficiency regulations becoming stricter. And interestingly, they mention the needs of busy dual income households who just don't have time for unexpected appliance failures and value that kind of proactive, convenient solution.
Okay, big problem, interesting tech approach, massive potential market. Let's talk money. How do they actually plan to generate revenue? The business model section of the proposal looked quite detailed.
It is quite layered, yeah. It's not just selling a piece of hardware. It's a hybrid model mixing that one-time hardware sale with ongoing recurring revenue.
Okay, let's break that down. Starting with B2C, selling direct to consumers, people like you listening.
Right. So first you buy the hardware itself. The proposal gives suggested price points. Around $3,000 to $3,500 in India, which is roughly, $39 to $49 in the US or Europe.
That sounds actually quite affordable for a smart home gadget.
It does seem positioned to be accessible, yeah. But the key for their long-term plan seems to be the recurring revenue piece.
Which comes from?
The mobile app subscription. This is what unlocks the premium features, the advanced analytics, the real-time alerts, the predictive insights, remote diagnostics, that sort of thing.
Ah. So a freemium model or tiered access.
Seems like it. They give example subscription prices, like €500 a month or around $5,000 a year in India, and then $799 a month or maybe $79 a year in the USU.
So buy the sensor, then subscribe for the ongoing smarts.
That seems to be the core B2C idea. They also mentioned potentially earning referral fees, like 10–15% commission if you use the app to book a repair with one of their partner technicians, and maybe bundling kits with new appliances through partnerships.
You mentioned partners. The proposal talks about B2B and enterprise opportunities too, right? That sounds like where the real scale could come from.
Definitely. That's a big part of the strategy outlined. One avenue is licensing the whole Smart Guardian system to the appliance manufacturers themselves, the OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, the big brands that make the appliances. Smart Guardian could potentially offer a white label solution, so the OEM sells it under their own brand, maybe paying Smart Guardian a royalty per unit.
Okay, that makes sense. What else on the B2B side?
Monitoring appliances in commercial settings. Think hotels, restaurants, facility management companies, that would likely be a software as a service or a SaaS model.
Sas, explain that
Okay,
question.
sure. Yeah. Software as a service. Basically, instead of buying software outright, you pay a recurring subscription fee to use it, often hosted in the cloud. So a hotel might pay, say, per monitored appliance per month for the Smart Guardian service.
Got it. And all this data they're collecting from sensors everywhere,
Yeah.
that must be valuable in itself.
Hugely valuable, potentially. And yes, the proposal explicitly mentions plans to monetize anonymized aggregated data, selling insights back to those OEMs for R&D, perhaps to insurance companies for better risk modeling, or even energy companies trying to forecast demand.
How would they sell that data?
Likely through something like an annual data access license. And finally, they talk about offering an API,
API.
application programming interface. It's basically a way for different software systems to talk to each other, so they could let third-party service platforms like home repair aggregators plug into Smart Guardian data, maybe on a usage fee or revenue sharing basis.
Wow, okay. That's a lot of potential revenue streams.
Yeah.
Did the proposal give any sense of the basic unit economics, like how much it costs to make versus sell?
It did. For the initial India D2C market in year one, it breaks down the cost. Roughly $950 for manufacturing, $250 for logistics and support, and estimates customer acquisition cost, or CAC, at $600.
Okay, so total cost around $1,800 per unit.
Something like that. And with a proposed selling price around $3,000, that leaves a gross profit of $1,200 per unit, about a 40% gross margin on the hardware.
40% is pretty healthy for hardware. And then the subscription revenue comes on top of that.
Right, and that's where the model gets really attractive from their perspective. They project a really fast payback period on that initial hardware sale, under 4 months, once you factor in the first bit of subscription revenue. And then a lifetime value, or LTV, per user, potentially over $10,000, which is, what, maybe $120, $130 over 3 years, primarily from that recurring subscription.
Okay, so that explains the strategic goal mentioned in the proposal.
Exactly. They state they're aiming for 65–70% of their total revenue to come from recurring subscriptions and platform usage by the 3rd year. That's the path to predictable, scalable growth they're pitching.
It's a compelling model if they can execute. But what about competition? Surely there are other players in the smart appliance or home monitoring space. How does Smart Guardian plan to compete, according to this proposal?
Yeah, the source material acknowledges competitors. You've got the big appliance giants like LG, Samsung, who have their own smart features, but they're usually locked into their specific brand ecosystem.
Right, my Samsung fridge probably won't talk to my LG washing machine easily.
Exactly. Then you have other smart home devices. Sense, for example, does whole home energy monitoring, but not really granular appliance health. Others, like Plume or Tado, focus mainly on heating and cooling systems, the HVAC.
And specific to India, they mentioned some local context.
Yeah, they note that existing annual maintenance contract, AMC apps, are often basic, and services like Urban Company are mostly reactive, you call them, when something's already broken, not for proactive monitoring.
So given that landscape, what are Smart Guardian's claimed advantages? What's their supposed competitive moat?
The proposal really hammers a few key points. First, that brand-agnostic retrofit capability we talked about. It's designed to work with lots of different appliances you already own from different brands, different types. That universality is key.
Okay, works with anything. What else?
The AI engine. They stress that their algorithms are proprietary, and crucially, they get better and more accurate with more data. So the more users they get, the smarter the system becomes, creating a kind of data network effect, a defensible advantage.
A data moat, essentially.
Yeah. Right. And also the ecosystem play, connecting users directly with service partners through the app.
So the barriers to entry they identify are that proprietary AI data advantage, a really simple user experience for installation. They mentioned like a 5-minute setup, cultivating those B2B partnerships early, getting ahead of regulations.
Yeah, they specifically mentioned being prepared for things like GDPR in Europe and India's IT Act on data privacy. Shows they're thinking about the complexities of scaling internationally. There's actually a quote in the investor section framing Smart Guardian as potentially the Nest for appliances.
Ah, like Nest did for thermostats, but universally for all major appliances.
That seems to be the ambition. An affordable, predictive layer for everything.
Looking further out, the proposal maps out a future roadmap and a pretty broad long-term vision, too.
Yeah, it's not just about the launch product. They lay out phases. Initially, it's about finalizing the hardware, getting manufacturing sorted, launching the core app features.
Then focusing more on the AI.
Exactly. Later phases detailed in the source talk about really deepening the machine learning capabilities, getting more accurate predictive scores, better anomaly detection, maybe even detailed energy usage profiles for each individual appliance.
And beyond just refining the core product.
Oh yeah, the vision gets bigger. Global expansion, obviously. Deeper integrations with businesses like offering APIs for those OEMs to build Smart Guardian tech into their own products or creating specialized dashboards for commercial clients.
Voice assistant integration.
Yep, mentions Alexa, Google Home, and exploring pilots with insurers or warranty companies who could potentially offer discounts or new products based on Smart Guardian data.
So definitely positioning it as a platform, not just a device.
Absolutely. The long-term vision described is building this core technology as a multi-tenant SaaS and IoT hub. They explicitly state this structure is designed to enable future applications beyond just home appliances.
Like what?
Things like smart buildings, integration into insurance tech platforms, feeding data to utilities for grid management, even potentially tracking appliance life cycles for the circular economy.
Okay, so the message to a potential investor seems to be, you're not just funding a gadget, you're seeding a scalable, data-generating AI platform with potential hooks into multiple industries down the line.
That's the pitch. Shows significant ambition beyond the initial consumer market.
Now, no venture is without risk. And to its credit, the proposal does seem to identify potential challenges.
Which is good. You want to see that they've thought about what could go wrong. And importantly, the source material says they outline mitigation strategies for those risks.
What kind of risks are we talking about? What did the proposal highlight?
Several categories mentioned in the source. Things like, how fast will customers actually adopt this? What if competition gets really intense really quickly? Supply chain disruptions always a risk with hardware. Technical challenges in actually building and scaling the AI.
The risk of technology just changing rapidly, too. Yep, that's in there. Plus, big ones for any IoT company. Data security and user privacy. That's critical. And navigating the different regulations in all the countries they plan to operate in.
But the proposal doesn't just list problems, it suggests solutions.
Right. For each risk, the source indicates there's a corresponding mitigation plan, like diversifying suppliers to reduce supply chain risk, using agile development to adapt to tech changes, investing heavily in security architecture, starting regulatory compliance work early, really focusing marketing on the unique value prop, and maintaining financial discipline. So the takeaway for someone reading the proposal is that potential bumps in the road have been considered and, at least on paper, planned for.
Exactly. Due diligence has seemingly been done on the potential downsides.
And finally, the proposal wraps up by talking about the team and reiterating that overall vision.
Yeah, it apparently includes details on the founders, highlighting their background in relevant fields, IoT, product development, AI, operations. And it talks about the plan to scale the team, building out R&D, marketing, sales, support functions as they grow.
And as we've discussed, the vision they present is much bigger than just a sensor.
It really is positioned as building an entire platform, an ecosystem focused on proactive appliance care.
So if we pull it all together, the proposal describes tapping into these fast-growing IoT and smart home markets. It pitches an innovative product aimed at solving a common, annoying problem. It lays out a multi-pronged business model focused on recurring revenue for growth and profitability. And it even sketches out potential exit strategies down the road, maybe acquisition by a big tech or appliance player, or even going public via an IPO.
It's presented as a chance to invest in, well, a smarter, potentially more sustainable way for households and maybe businesses to manage their essential equipment.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Consider the appliances in your own home, or maybe your small business. How much hassle could you avoid if you knew before the washing machine flooded or the freezer died?
The time, the money, the sheer frustration.
And stepping back, if this kind of operational signature monitoring works for appliances, what else could we apply it to? What other physical things could benefit from this kind of passive, non-invasive listening and analysis?
That's the really interesting, broader question, isn't it? Where else could this tech go?
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into this Smart Guardian investor proposal. A final thought to leave you with, drawing from the source. If a simple external sensor combined with some clever AI can effectively diagnose the health of complex machines like our appliances and predict failures, how might that same principle of passive, non-invasive monitoring fundamentally reshape how we manage all sorts of physical systems around us, from tiny gadgets right up to critical infrastructure?
Definitely food for thought as these technologies continue to develop.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.